Hey, good morning, Drop Off Line Sports. I hope you guys can hear me. Give thumbs up. Make sure you guys can hear me right now, okay? JMV here. I had to drop Laney off early, so Laney is not with me. So I'll be doing this bad boy myself. So welcome in, Drop Off Line Sports this morning, brought to you by Bobcat of Indy. Couple of things. I got a huge weekend to get to with you guys. I'll answer all your questions. Scott, good morning to you. Let's go ahead and get on. If you have any questions, go ahead and lob them to me right now. Doug Hall is watching too. I get thumbs up, so clearly you guys hear not only me, but Rupert Holmes too, right? Yes. Good morning, guys. All right, let's talk about the Colts yesterday, right? But here's the first thing I want to tell you is this. Because of the ridiculous weather we've had here, I am not going to be on today. That NASCAR race, the Brickyard, is going to be run over the top of me. So here's what I thought about doing. See what you guys think about this. I thought about coming back and doing some Facebook Live at 3 and then doing another Facebook Live around 5. 3 and 5 later on today. Would you guys be okay with that? So we can talk a little bit more about the Colts and that loss yesterday to the Bengals. It was such a big weekend. I mean, it really was. Huge weekend all the way around. Not only for sports, but I got to host my first B105.7 JMV takeover on Saturday, and that was awesome, by the way. I hope you liked the playlist. The reins were still a little bit on, but I basically played everything I wanted to, and had a great time. All right, that's what you guys want me to do. Facebook Live at 3 and at 5 later on today from the driveway. Thank you, Heath. I'm glad you enjoyed B105.7 on Saturday, my man. Sean Patrick Turley says the rookies exceeded my expectations. Go ahead and get some questions in, and I'll read these questions, answer them, and then kind of work around some of my thoughts here. Again, 3 and 5 today. Facebook Live, because I'm not going to be on. The Brickyard 400 is going to be on, which don't even get me into it. But it's what has to be. I understand that. And I'll be on here for Facebook Live. Good morning, Gary Hudson. And I am still a little bit under the weather here. I'm thinking about going to the doctor on my way home. Because I can't shake loose of this thing at all. Jeremy Welliver says, I thought the Colts were too conservative with the lead. You know what? I would say not so much conservative. They just were knuckleheaded with the lead. They did some knuckleheaded things with the lead. Bobby Carter said, I felt the loss coming. Again, you kind of felt it. When T.Y. Hilton dropped that pass, Luck put on a dime, you knew that was coming, didn't you? I mean, that was it, right? They were up, 23-10, and T.Y. had a good 40-yard gain or something, just running his hands on the sideline. He dropped, and that could have led to another score at least, and things could have been different, there's no doubt. Brian Foley says the Colts' first half looked really good. Rick Clark says fireball shots. Man, I've done bourbon shots, and it's not working here. Yeah, you believe that? Seltzer says, ouch, big weekend of various sports and no you today. How about that? Yeah, thank the weather and the wonderful world of NASCAR being here in September. Thank you very much. But I'm going to try to do Facebook Live, and hopefully you guys all join in and we get some things done. All right, couple of things. You're kind of torn about the Colts because it was must win. They should have won. They should be feeling really good going to Washington. Who, by the way, absolutely hammered the Cardinals yesterday. They looked great. I mean, you look at the Redskins, Alex Smith looked good. Adrian Peterson looked good. Their defense looked good, so that's going to be an issue. That's why you put a premium on that win yesterday, or that win that you should have had yesterday. That's why I call it must win for a long period of time. Couple of things. I thought Luck looked really good. For his first game back in over a year, I thought he looked really good. Now, that first interception following the turnover, first of all, Kenny Moore's got to take that thing to the house. You can't let Andy Dalton tackle you there. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But Luck immediately throws that interception, trying to force it to Jack Doyle. Couple of things. That's the type of play that Andrew Luck is always going to do. I mean, understand that. He's always going to try to force it in there. There's going to be no way around that, always. So you saw the Andrew Luck force that took points off the board, at the very least, at least 3, that you can't have. but he's always going to do that. I've said this before. I don't think he's ever, and I mean ever, going to get out of that. The Colts, I like this. Anyway, he did respond, and I will say this. I thought he was really focused in on especially Doyle early, but he spread the ball around. 7 different receivers caught balls yesterday? Here's what I think offensively. Clearly, you have to run the football better. I don't know if they're ever going to be capable of doing that, guys, honestly. I don't know if they're ever going to be capable of doing that. However, I like the offense. I like the new offense. I like the rhythm plays, the short pass plays. I like all that. I like spreading the ball around. The one thing I didn't like, I don't think they used Eric Ebron nearly enough. I mean, if you look at the number of snaps he got compared to the number of snaps that Doyle got, Ebron's going to be way too much of a threat for this team not to utilize him more. You guys are actually asking exactly what happened to Ebron. You know, where was he early in that game? And then finally there he was for a touchdown. But I think you got to try to utilize Eric Ebron a lot more than certainly what they did in that game, number one. I'm guessing that's something they're going to figure out. Seth Weaver said they were way more fun to watch last year, but 0-5 start is now a possibility. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. That's why you had to have that game yesterday. That game was winnable. They should have won that game. That's why it's tough for me to sit here and speak glowingly about everything, because everything wasn't glowing. And, you know, again, you had a second half meltdown of sorts that we saw with Pagano coach teams that we had hoped was out of here. And then, you know, that was an issue that you had again yesterday in a game where, you know, you get a first win. Who knows what happens? You feel good. Get a lot of guys feeling good about that, but instead, nope. Nick Stinnett says over under 2 wins. First part of the schedule, Nick's going to be incredibly difficult. Darnell says the O-line is still a major issue. Well, it was a major issue yesterday because Costanzo wasn't out there and because Webb is in. And you hear what? Darnell, the line would have been worse had the offense not now been designed to better suit a bad offensive line or not a good offensive line. You know what I mean? I mean, Luck got sacked twice. The quick rhythm stuff kept guys like Dunlap and Atkins off of him, I thought. So there were some good things. There were some bad things. But overall, the disappointment of being 0-1 and then a schedule that has the Redskins, the Eagles, the Texans, and New England coming up. Not good at all. I thought Costanzo was greatly missed. I don't know if you're going to be able to trust him once he gets back, guys, to be honest with you. Seth Weaver says 5-11. I said 7-9. I thought that Bengals game to get, I think more you're looking at 5 or 6 now, because 7-9, I think you had to have that Bengals win to get to 7-9, Seth. I do. Now, you got a lot of the negative things, a lot of the bad things. There's no doubt about that. The good thing was that Luck looked good. The good thing was, out of nowhere, you got a wide receiving core that actually caught some balls. Now, T.Y. dropped one, Ryan Grant dropped one, but I think overall, considering what we knew going in, you were probably satisfied with the wide receivers, right? No big game breakers there. I mean, T.Y. is good, but not a game breaker. That's why you got to see more out of Ebron. I definitely think that. Young guys defensively, I mean, Toure had some moments. He also had some moments of knuckleheadery, the horse collar, knuckleheadery. Clayton Geathers. You can honestly look at Clayton Geathers. He really kind of helped cost him that game because that ridiculous penalty on Tyler Eifert. Tyler Eifert wasn't going to get the first down. The pass might have been on the money, but Tyler Eifert was not going to get that first down. So that was completely knucklehead. They really went knucklehead on that entire series. What did they have on that series where they scored a touchdown? They had 3 defensive penalties on that series too. Here's the other thing that stood out. Quincy Wilson had just an absolute awful series. An awful series where you got a penalty, a PI, an awful series at the end. They had John Ross getting that touchdown over his head in the end zone. So that was bad. This was good. Darius Leonard looked really good. Darius Leonard one of these days is going to be really good. No doubt about that. Sean says Leonard, I think, is a difference maker. One of these days he's going to be really, really good. Jeremy Welliver, I hate the new tackle rules and penalties that go with them. I can agree with you on that. There was a lot of that. Luck got hit hard in the head. I was screaming slide like everybody else was screaming slide. That's probably something else you're never truly going to get out of him. Sean Williams was rightfully kicked out of the game, but you know who ultimately stripped Jack Doyle and scored the touchdown at the end, right? The guy that replaced Sean Williams, who went out and was ejected for that hit. Fedulum, he stripped Jack Doyle, scored the touchdown, and that was that. All right, a lot of you, actually not any of you, but some people have been on my Twitter asking about the clock management late and saying, hey, the Colts still had 3 timeouts. You know, why don't you use them? I didn't have a problem with clock management late. I mean, they were still getting down the field. Think about this for a moment. They had 3 timeouts. They would have used it had Jack Doyle hung on to the football. They would have had 2 timeouts with, 36 seconds remaining and a 1st and 10 from the 16-yard line. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever. None. 0. So I couldn't find it. A lot of people were upset about it. I couldn't find it. Luck could have drawn a couple of 12-men on the field penalties had he hurried up and snapped the ball. I noticed that a couple of times too. Good morning, Emax. But overall, I thought Luck was really good. Overall, I was incredibly disappointed with what happened with this team. Because again, I mean, you saw the stadium yesterday, right? A lot of empty seats and a lot of Bengals fans. And this is going to be a common theme if this team doesn't win some games. Now, I know that we're in rebuild mode here, and that's great. But you got to give something back to the fans right now, too. Some progress shown. I mean, other than feeling better about, the offense and just having Luck back, I mean, a lot of that progress is covered up just by a disgusting loss in a game that you absolutely should have won that was incredibly reminiscent of the past. So, Jennifer says, I have way more confidence than the staff can do it. Hey, I don't have any problem with the offense, Jennifer. I'm right there with you on that. I like the offense. I think the offense is better for them. I think the offense is better for Luck. It's better for Luck's health, even though he got hammered a couple of different times yesterday. But overall, I think it's better. All right. So yesterday morning, as I started the ride to kickoff, Ian Rappaport tweeted out a story about Andrew Luck copping finally to the whole snowboarding thing. And that had, if you remember, that had been an urban legend for about 2 years. And some people say, here's the thing. It was first talked about on our show. Make no mistake about it. Tony Donahue first brought it up because an Uber driver that drove him home brought it up. The first place I ever heard it. Now, if you don't listen to the show, then you probably didn't hear it because everybody else took off with it next. But the first place it was ever brought up was on this show, was on the afternoon show. It was. Now, that doesn't mean anything because the part of the problem is I don't remember this. I think I remember initially where it was denied. And if you go, this goes all the way back to 16, the winter of 2016. So it was still Grigson and Pagano. That regime denied it. And then everybody just kind of filed it away as urban legend, seriously. And that's why yesterday I thought, unless Ian Rappaport has this thing absolutely cold and he says, hey, I'm going to go with this, unless I get a quote or two out of you and, I got this thing down, sourced up as far as the snowboarding accident, it didn't make a lot of sense to me for Andrew Luck even to cop to it at this point. Honestly, didn't make a lot of sense. But I mean, again, if Rappaport had it down, then I do kind of understand why you would go ahead and cop to it. But kind of bringing that out. Truthfully, kind of bringing that out. You could have left that an urban legend because there are a lot of urban legends regarding the Colts and Pacers stuff that have floated around out here that people probably do believe, but at the same time was never really verified. Nothing ever concrete about it. Anyway, that's what happened yesterday. Clearly to me, it's no longer a big deal. You can talk about, again, all it does is factor in to the Colts being truthful. But let's be fair on this. The Colts have handled things basically awful for a long period of time. So at that time, they were handling things wrong. And really, they need to start handling things right here, I want them to be more transparent. But unless Rappaport had that down cold, Luck probably would have been better off leaving that as an urban legend. But again, I'm assuming that Rappaport probably had it down cold. Anyway, Tony Donahue was the first person to ever bring that up right here. Listen, come up with all these local professional sports urban legends. There are a million about Manning, a million about Marvin. There was one about Marvin in the parking garage beneath Circle Center, getting into it with his bodyguards with some cops. That turned out to be true, actually. Nothing ever came of that. But there's been a lot of stuff that's floated around here. But that was yesterday, and I think people kind of forgot about that as the game went on, because Luck looks fine. I mean, Luck looks fine. Luck is going to be better. I really liked it. And again, I'm not surprised by the bonehead mistake in the red zone. I've said this all along. He's always going to do that. He is always going to do that. He's always going to try to force the football. There are like 3 or 4 other plays, 2 on that final drive, if you remember, where he tried to force it in there. And it was almost picked off. So anyway, that was brought back up yesterday. And listen, no, I'm not trying to take credit for it. I just know that it was heard first with Tony. I'm going to give credit to Tony for it. You guys all, if you listen to the show, heard that first with Tony Donahue. But it was only laughed about. And anybody says that, oh yeah, I had it absolutely down. Nobody had it absolutely down. It was from an Uber driver. That's how that started. So, well, yeah. I mean, Reggie Miller's got some out there that's incredible. I mean, not just about the house, guys, David. Reggie Miller's got some stuff out there that's even more incredible. Stuff that I wish I could tell you, right? Stuff that I'd have to tell you probably offline. But stuff, anyway. That was from yesterday, too. Drop Offline Sports brought to you by Bobcat of Indy, doing this without Laney this morning. And keep in mind, later on today, I'm going to be off because NASCAR got rained out, and they're going to be running that race over the top of me today. So I'm going to do Facebook Live at 3 and Facebook Live at 5 if you guys all would like to participate, right? Coach, you're exactly right, man. Exactly right. A lot of urban legends out there, huh? Hey, listen, bottom line on the Luck thing, it's completely and utterly knucklehead for your quarterback to have a labrum injury, lacerated kidney, suffer that, and then go out and jump on a snowboard on a mountain in Colorado. That is absolutely knucklehead, ridiculous stuff. But he benefits from the fact that he's Andrew Luck, quarterback of the Colts. I mean, anybody else is probably going to get cut. The contract's going to get voided, but he's Andrew Luck, right? So that's how that works. All right, what else over the weekend, too? I mentioned the rain out at IMS. IU, now 2-0 with a big win in the rain. Kuntz was in the rain down at Memorial Stadium with a win over Virginia. The Boilermakers, man, you talk about the Boilermakers screwing things over on Saturday with that incredible loss at home to Eastern Michigan. That was terrible. And what else do we have here? Ball State. I thought Ball State looked fantastic. You better watch out for Ball State. I love Riley Neal, man. I do. The quarterback from Yorktown, the quarterback from Ball State. I like Riley Neal a lot, man. Really fun. Ball State and IU is next week. The Boilermakers are going to get Missouri. I thought the Boilermakers would be a sure shot for 6 wins. And I don't know about that now. That's pretty scary. It is. So you had that this weekend, and you had me on B105.7. Hey, you guys reach out to Sean Copeland on Twitter and tell him thank you. I would love to do that again. I'd like to do maybe a 2 or 3 hour in the middle of the day or something where we could have some kind of party music fun or something one of these days. But I had a great time. I mean, I really did have a great time. Heath, I cannot enlighten you on Greene County urban legends. I will one of these days, but it'll have to be off the air here. Off the air. There's some good ones, and some of the urban legends are absolutely true. All right, got to run here, Drop Offline Sports. I'm actually going to go on with Jeff and Kevin coming up here in just a minute on the morning after program that they have coming up here at 9:30. So if you want to hear some thoughts on that, go ahead. Interesting, JMV, they aren't making the Brickyard free to the public. I know, $40 to get in there, isn't it? $40. How many people are going to have out there? They literally had 5,000 out there yesterday. Jennifer said, I did listen on Saturday. I agree. You need to do it again. It was great choices. I had such a good time. David Byer said, music 12 to 3 on 1070. I'll tell you what, I had a great time doing that, guys. I did. And you know what I did? It's funny. I just did it all the top of my head. I would tell Chris Woolbridge, who did a great job producing, there was a playlist, and he said, hey, do you want to play the song that's in there? And I said, no. So I would just say, I want this and I want that. And that's pretty awesome. I really liked it. But thank you to Sean Copeland for letting me do that. And you guys thank Sean, too. All right, Drop Off Line Sports. You guys going to be ready today at 3 o'clock? Drop Off Line Sports instead of me, 3 o'clock. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll do 2 Drop Off Line Sports special editions at 3 and 5 o'clock today because I'm not going to be on the air. Let's get some thumbs. I'll give you a pretty good question of the day coming up a little bit later on. Drop Off Line Sports brought to you by Bobcat of Indy. You guys are awesome. Catch me coming up here in about 20 minutes. I'll be on 1070 The Fan talking with Rickard and Bowen about yesterday too. You guys have a great day. Colleen, Jennifer, you guys are awesome. Talk to you at 3.